another episode of the Eskwilax Hour. It is actually Friday again. I think it's like maybe the second Friday before the year ends. But anyways, welcome again. This is the Eskwilax Hour where we bring you local artists, art events, some local news, a little bit about everything about being creative. I'm your host, Efrain Martinez. And today we have an artist from South Central, Manuel Reyes. Thank you for being here, sir.
Yep.
And
it's a pleasure.
Sorry about the whole, it's been 2-3 weeks. We've been going, we're gonna shoot it tomorrow. We're gonna shoot it this Tuesday, Friday, and then we kept not finding a spot. But luckily today, we're able to shoot it at the artist studio here in Mid City. So we're working our way back to getting a space for our own. But man. So how you been? How's life these days? Cause it's towards the end of the year, it's not that many art shows going on, not that many,
The thing is, ever since I got this job at the brewery, at this beer brewery, I've been I usually work weekends, so I haven't been going to a lot of art shows.
Right.
I haven't participated in a lot of art shows, and that's what I love doing. But hopefully, when next year, I look forward to starting these new art shows that I usually partake and art walks.
Yeah, that's why one of the reasons. That's how we met you. I think at when we started at Zapotec, when we had the space, and we would do our the shows on Thursdays because we knew a lot of people had them on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which was the common thing.
Yeah.
So we started doing them Thursdays. That's how we. I think that's how we met you in person. I think I had followed you online.
Yeah.
And because again, our circle just kept growing and growing, and we met a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
So let's get to it. I mean, you want to tell us how'd you get when did you start with art? Is it something that you've always done as a child, growing up? How does that?
It's something that I've always been into. I was born in Jalisco, Mexico, and I migrated in '98. So I still remember going down Broadway in the taxi and looking out the window and looking at the graffiti art, and I knew I instantly fell in love, and I knew that that's something that I wanted to try out. So one of the first crews, graffiti crews that I was introduced to was CVS. So I was really into their artwork, and slowly I started making my own work, and then here I am now. And I didn't start taking painting seriously until high school. Actually, I didn't start painting until high school, but that was about 5 or 6 years ago.
And did you ever you said you saw the graffiti? Were you ever into graffiti? Picked up a spray can or?
Yeah, I actually I was more into markers though. At a certain point, I stopped because I just became paranoid. The whole. Having a criminal history, and then it's very.
It'll follow you.
It'll follow you, especially when you're undocumented. It's very difficult.
And so, I'm pretty sure. Were you ever into muralism? Did you ever look into muralists like Rivera, Taqueros, any of that? Because of the graffiti, you know how it's on the wall.
Yeah.
It's there. Some of it has a message.
Yeah. I've actually I barely started getting into muralism in high school as well. I had this my art teacher Luis Genaro Garcia. He's also a muralist, a painter, and he's the one that taught me that you can use art as a tool. To promote messages. For example, he would promote social justice messages, and that's something that really got into my attention.
And so did you pursue art after high school, or did you go to the college for it afterwards, or it was more became a hobby, something you did when you had free time?
Before senior year, it's something that I would do on the side. It was a hobby, and it wasn't until this high school class that I took that it became more serious. I started doing political work, and this one time I had the opportunity to go to San Diego, and there's where I met there's a famous muralist from Barrio Logan, Victor Ochoa, and he's the one that made a lot of the murals. He's one of the few remaining muralists that actually painted on Chicano Park, and that's where around that moment, around that year, I actually started taking art a little bit more serious, and now I feel like I've it's part of my identity now.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like the photos of Chicano Park. I've never actually been out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day I make it out there.
Of course.
But yeah, I could see how like you can get influence and like just, get a sense of like we're able to create art as artists of color or just Mexican artists, because I myself I'm direct from Oaxaca, so seeing like somebody like myself making art out there, I'm like, yo, I could do that too, and put positive messages out there in the world through art, like you said. Art is a tool.
Yeah.
And then what about like I was saying, like after high school, did you pursue it? Did you take any classes?
I was actually taking classes at Otis College.
Nice.
This program called Rhyme Arts. They offered a couple of us college classes at Otis College when I was in high school. We would take them on the weekends, and unfortunately, I got dropped from it because I couldn't make it all the time.
Damn.
And I'm actually trying to go to community college to continue pursuing art, and I look forward to hopefully transferring to Otis College because it's one of the schools I'm trying to get into.
Oh yeah, I mean I've heard great stuff about Otis. I had a couple of friends that I know that graduated from there, and yeah, it's all great things. It's all, I mean, it's a good space, like a good school to like keep working on your skill, on your art.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have a background, like I said, in fine art, but it's very great to see people just achieving that. They're like to the next level and the next level.
Exactly.
And I believe, yeah, like also, I have friends that are just also they're just learning from books. They're just learning from books.
Yeah. That has been me, for these past 5 or 6 years. I've been mostly self-taught, but I want people to know that you don't have to go to art school in order to become an artist. The fact that you're already making this art, like you're already an artist, you're a musician, like you don't have to go to school to become this. I feel like I'm not going to go to school for art to become an artist, but to refine my skills. I already have like connects. I want to grow my connects. I want to just learn how to use different mediums, and that's the reason why I'm going to school.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like you said, you grew up mostly in South Central, like
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure out there, not everybody has the opportunity to go to art school and
of course. Yeah.
to go to spend time like on the other side of town, because that's most of the time that's where schools are located.
Yeah.
Because you're already like, you live in a certain atmosphere, and sometimes paying rent is more important.
Exactly, yeah.
And as much as you want to keep going on your education, you don't have, that opportunity. But if you do, it's great.
Yeah,
For those who can, do it. For those who can't, if you really love art, it's books, like you said, like you're doing yourself, books, practice, paintings, sketching.
I feel like it's the thing about me is like I'm really about my community. So what I want to do if I ever get a chance to just finish art school, I want to bring back those resources and create a platform. Kind of like what IPR is doing. I feel like if I don't bring that back, if I don't bring back those skills to my community, then it was never worth it going to school for. So that's how I feel about it.
That's great, man, that you want to give back to the community that that would be grateful to have something like that. So how was it growing up in South Central as an artist? Did you meet other artists while growing up, or it was just more like?
I met a lot of great tagger friends.
Yeah.
They're still doing their thing out there, and I support them. And I actually learned that even graffiti artists are they're great artists, but a lot of people criminalize the graffiti art. But I feel like they're just as creative as any other artists with different mediums. You have to understand graffiti art is a medium, but they're all also artists. The same thing with working class people that make the signs for carnicerias, for all these liquor stores. That's a craft right there. We have to understand there's so many craftspeople in our community that they're very crafty, they're very creative, even in a working class community. But we have to give them that respect, and that we have to acknowledge them.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, like the hand painted signs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because not everybody could afford to, like, get something made by a company.
Yeah.
So they go to the local craftsman that does, work out there. And yeah, I've heard of some like homies that they studied that. I didn't know you can study that.
I have no idea either.
Yeah.
I believe Trade Tech offers a program for sign graphics.
Yeah, because it's also a dying art. So
exactly, yeah. And I feel we have to keep it alive. It's so rich, in creativity. So.
And what about you? Like, what's the medium that you use the most, or what did you start with? You said markers, right?
Markers.
And then you later moved into like acrylic painting and oil painting, or do you just do?
I moved in more into acrylic painting when I was taking the classes at Otis. I got introduced to like charcoals. I got introduced to pastels, to like many different other mediums that I had no idea about. So now I'm trying to like printmaking as well. So I've been trying to experiment with those. Like a lot of the times I mess up, but I feel like that's part of like the process of learning, trial and error. You have to mess up in order to learn. There's a lot of artists throughout history that they experimented with a lot of different things, and it didn't always work out. But like at least now they have this knowledge. What works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, like I guess it's stages, right? As you go and you learn, like just like in graffiti, you go from like toy, you do bombing, and then you go to like pieces, and then like giant pieces, and just then after I think people just start they just start getting a whole style.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe for a cool while I was out here trying to find a style, and for many years I was trying to what's gonna be my style. And it wasn't until like last year that I had friends tell me, yeah, dude, you actually have a style. You just never you don't see it, but people can acknowledge your work when they see it as somewhere. You have a style, but you probably don't recognize it because you don't think about it.
Yeah, I think it's normal. Like I guess one as artists, you just make and create. You don't really like acknowledge it until somebody's like, "Yo, I can recognize your style now," and then you're like, No, it's whack.
It's something that I told you a couple of weeks ago too. Like I recognize your work, so I could acknowledge I could recognize your work anywhere that I see it. You don't have to be there. I know that's your piece.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's an artist thing. We're just too busy creating and not realizing that it's separating itself from everybody else. Because I guess that's what. You kind of yearn for, like just kind of be your own, like you said, you go somewhere and then you recognize, oh yeah, that's Cicados, that's Diego.
Yeah. Yep.
That's tight. What about do you have artists in your family, like besides yourself, like your parents, your grandparents, like? Because usually the things I notice is like artists, they'll have like somebody else in their family, like just kind of that does like either like they're great chefs. They sew,
I guess now that you mentioned sewing, my mom was really into sewing. She would create different designs, different styles, and she was always about creating stuff. Like she was very crafty, and I didn't start recognizing it until like a couple of years ago that she's also very creative. My little nieces, actually, I live with my sister. They love painting as well. It's something that I wanna let them do. I don't want to show them how to paint. I want them to express themselves through the colors, through the shapes. I'm not gonna correct them because art. That's the thing about art. You're never right or wrong. You're always just, as long as you can express yourself. You got it down. You got it. It's correct.
Yeah, I mean, and years from now, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember him. He was making art, and I would watch him. Yeah. And then, now you have a whole set of family members.
Yeah. And the thing about my nieces is that they're very into just creative things that I'm not even into. They're into dancing. They're into singing, but it's also they're very creative in different formats. And I acknowledge them, and I want to be that person that's always supporting them, because I feel like that's very necessary in our communities. That support, for creative folks. We don't always have the support. I didn't get the support from from my mom, until she noticed that I was taking it seriously. And unfortunately, we can't get financial support from our parents sometimes. But we have the support. Like they'll show up to your shows, they'll show up to your events, and I feel like that's more powerful than financial support.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot to, especially when you come from like a background of, you spend most of your time just working and trying to make ends meet.
That's the struggle of being a working class artist.
How was it like? Who were your main influences? I know you said your teacher or the muralist in Chicano Park.
Yeah.
But do you have like a few artists that really influence your work? Like, do you know how people they'll be like, oh, a Picasso influence. Do you have any of those type of artists?
I have artists that have influenced me because they have a similar political views and artistic views. They're for the people. They're artists for the people. So during the Mexican Revolution, there was a lot of artists, a lot of muralists like Siqueiros and like Rivera and Frida that really resonated with me because they're for the people and their art reflected that. So I'm for those artists. Picasso also being one of them. Later on in his life, he made the piece. He made one of his most famous pieces, Guernica, which was about the bombing, like in Guernica, and and I felt that was one of my favorite paintings because it shows the pain, and I want to get to that level of showing the pain that people live in South Central and other working class communities, and how evictions, how like gentrification, like suffer, like the pain that we suffer, So I feel like that's my goal through art to show that. Last year I met Emilia and she has been a big influence to me. I look up to her work and I want to I always ask her for for ideas. I always have her help me out with my work. So she's been really important to me when it comes to opinions and she's been giving me a couple of ideas. Yeah, so it's...
Yeah, that's great that you want to put those deep messages and just kind of help uplift the community, especially the community that you said is like working class and and it has like a reputation of not being the best place. Yeah. Even though if you like yourself grow up there and you find the beauty in that space, regardless what anybody else says outside of it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I want to do, I've actually met a couple of artists that actually do that. So they've been very influential with me. I know this guy, I believe it's pronounced Westenslao.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
His work is really amazing. He has he's been having prints of street vendors and they're they sell elotes, all this stuff. And that's kind of what I want to do with my style though, kind of do similar things but with my style and just show the beauty within the working class people, street vendors, the way we have to hustle in order to pay this rent that's always getting higher,
Yeah, I mean, it's why paint something that's outside of the neighborhood? Why are you gonna paint the Eiffel Tower when that has no meaning to somebody that lives in South Central? Yeah, like you said, you paint the Lotero man, you paint the Raspado dude, you paint the ice cream truck that sells chips at 11 p.m., that kind of stuff, because it's in your community and it's what helped you kind of just grow up. Because that's what you live most of your life out in South Central, right?
Yeah, and I still live in South Central. And I believe that sometimes you also don't have to paint the pretty picture. You have to paint the ugly reality, in our communities. One of the pieces that I did a couple of years ago was an Eric Garner piece when he's getting chokeholded,
Yeah, I remember that tragedy.
That piece, I purposely made it to look very vague, very, very ugly, because it's an ugly truth that we're living in. Regardless of what political stance you have on it, it's an unjustified death, and we have to acknowledge that.
I mean, yeah, it's the whole thing. That's why they even tried, or I don't know, they did, right? They changed the name of South Central to South LA.
Yeah,
it's just pretty much what you're saying. They're trying to okay, we're just gonna hide this. We're gonna put something new over it.
They just want to get all these new terms for Sola,
Yeah.
So I really do not approve of it, but it's I don't want to make this politically oriented either,
Yeah,
I wanted
of
to
course.
talk about art, but I can't censor myself either.
No, yeah, I mean, in the past we've had artists, they just kind of open up and talk about what it is on their mind. We don't, You know, again, everybody's entitled to their opinion, to their work, especially when it comes to your art.
Exactly.
I mean, you're the maker, you're the creator, so you choose what you put in your art.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it'll be subjective to some people. They'll be like, well, I don't like this guy's art because this is in it.
Yeah.
But then, you know, they'll go and like something else that you're really against, and then you're like, well, that doesn't make sense.
That's the risk of being an artist. You have to, as an artist, I feel like being an artist, you're automatically political. You have to have views. You have to have stances. You know, the same thing when it comes to music. The same thing when it comes to like, I feel like everything is kind of connected somehow to politics. I personally like, I would like to say I hate politics, but I actually have to be aware of what's going on as an undocumented folk. You know, from a working class community. I have to be aware of what's happening in my community. What are the stances that these leaders in power have with people like us? You know.
Yeah, I mean, us, we share it on our platform every now and then, like things we don't like, what's going on, and like, you know, we put it on social media because we do have people that watch us and follow us. And what we notice is, I think we're like shadow banned, like just because of the stuff we post, but we don't care because we have certain followers that, you know, that been there since day one.
Exactly.
And that's who we worry about.
Yeah. And it's like, as long as you're doing what you want to do, like you're not censoring yourself. As creatives, we're not supposed to censor ourselves. You know, we have to put people in a very we have to make the people uncomfortable. As an artist, that's our priority. You know, to take people out of their comfort zones. You know, I feel like that's what Picasso did with the Guernica.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, because you were mentioning that.
Yeah.
The closest thing I've seen to that also recently was, I think there was a painter in Mexico that, you know, he started painting all the slaughtered bodies, the chopped up people, the gruesomeness of the cartel wars to like let people know this is what's going on, you know, regardless if it's a painting.
Exactly.
If it was highly, you know, painted, highly skilled painted.
Yep.
But this is reality. This is what we live.
Exactly. And I feel like it's very important. Like even in music, you know, you have to take that risk to talk about what you believe in. You know, for example, you know, one of the best examples that I could think of is Victor Jara. You know, from Chile. He got killed by the government because his music was talking about the movement to take out the dictator from Chile at the moment. You know, Pinochet. You know, so like there was a whole movement of this style of music that was talking about the working class people, the uprising, and believe it or not, they were either killed or imprisoned, you know, but they took that risk, and that's what I love about them. That's what I like about the Mexican artists during the revolution as well.
Yeah, it's like you said, you're an artist, you choose what you create, and then there will be people that will, you know, they won't like your work, there'll be people that be in love with your work, and you just create.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, if I'm not taking that risk, like, what is it really worth? You know, it's like, for me personally, in my opinion, it's not worth being like, I'm not worth being an artist if I don't take that risk to show what I'm about and what I believe in. You know, maybe what I believe in it's not always the correct thing, but I'm oriented to like believe in justice, and you know, I believe that, you know, people, whatever you may be, like I believe we all deserve to be treated equally, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about your influences. Are you working on any current paintings right now, or like you're just in a straight up hiatus where you're not really creating, like a painter's block kind of thing?
I actually don't believe in the painter's block. I believe that as humans we have like other things, like you were mentioning. We work, we do all these other things, but we have those ideas are always there. They might be like in your subliminal side of your brain, but I feel like we always have these ideas, but we are not always in the best mood to portray them on whatever, whether it be in a painting, in a song, in a poem. But I honestly don't believe in a painter's block. I am currently working on some commissions. A couple of commissions, they're like dog portraits. For whatever reason, I've been getting a lot of dog portraits, and it's actually really good. It's something that I'm not the best at, but over practice, I've been getting better. You know.
That's great, because I mean, why, if especially this holiday season and those who do celebrate the holidays, I think it is better to buy from like a local artist, somebody that you can, you know, face to face, and not from like where you can just go in a store and, you know, you don't know where that came from. Whereas something like yourself, you're creating it, you know, dog portraits,
of course, yeah,
by hand, and you get to meet, you know, the people that purchase it.
Yeah,
it's a great thing.
Yeah, and it's like I love doing commissions for people, you know, because they give me one. Sometimes they would just give me, I want this, you know, and it sounds so simple, but at the moment that they're giving me this, they're giving me the freedom to add anything else onto it, you know. That's where my brain kind of like, you know, explodes into all of this, like, you know, just thoughts, you know, and I start brainstorming on the spot of what it is that I could add onto this painting to, like, you know, to show my side to it, you know, like, of course, like, I'll do whatever they commission me to, but I'll add on to it, you know.
And when it comes to that, what has been like the most difficult piece that you've created?
The
Like,
most,
since you started, since day one, since you know you started creating.
honestly, the most difficult piece I've done has been this year, actually. Earlier this year, I was trying to make a painting of Emilia, and it came out like, a lot of people told me it didn't really look like Emilia, and I thought it didn't look like Emilia. And you know what? We learn from from our mistakes. You know, I really wanted to make a really nice painting of her because I really appreciate her. Emilia has been a huge influence to my niece, who also paints, and they have a really good bond. And like, the I just love. I really appreciate her because, like, you know, she's always like getting in touch with the community. She's always getting in touch with my nieces. You know, they have a really huge respect and love for her, and admiration as well.
Well, that's cool. What about like size wise? What has been like your biggest piece?
My biggest piece,
Like a mural or like
I've helped out with murals. The organization that I'm part of, we had this program called Eskwilax. So we do electrical boxes. We have a educational session before that, and then we have the students, the youth, design the concepts for this electrical boxes. So I helped them out here and there. I also a couple of murals that I helped out on. I feel like there's been a huge challenge because I don't have a lot of experience when it comes down to murals. So I feel like that was very hard, and you know. But I learned. You have to learn. You have to start somewhere. And you're gonna learn from trial and error. You know?
yeah, definitely. Trial and error is like can never go wrong with that.
Of course. Yeah. I'm trying to get better at making portraits. You know, so I love painting skin tones. You know, so actually I want to study more like painting skin tones. So actually I want to start the year by painting more people. You know, I'm currently working on a Jill Scott her own piece. And I'm experimenting on that piece, but there's a lot of pictures of him that are black and white, so I'm actually using a black and white picture, and I'm using a couple of rare pictures of his skin tone, and I'm trying to add it onto the painting. You know? So it's very complicating, but he's a huge influence to me, so you know I feel like it's worth it. He's worth it, you know.
So you said it's a black and white like photo,
Yeah,
and then you're getting like the skin tones from somewhere else.
exactly. Yeah,
It's like when they do the with photography, you know, like they get the old photos and
Yeah.
but you're doing it manually. You're doing it way tougher than just
it
taking.
is because like there's like shadows, like the way the lighting hits and all that stuff. You know, it's very complicated. But I've actually done it before. When I was in high school, I did this painting of, I believe, Cantinflas, and most of his pictures are they're like black and white. You know. So what I did is like I managed to find a couple that were colorized, you know. So I used a couple of these rare pictures to add onto this painting, and I don't remember what happened to that painting, but I was really proud of it. And this was back in like I want to say junior year of high school.
So the other day you mentioned what was the name? Carrie
James Marshall.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little about that artist that you said it's also a big influence?
Yeah, in this past couple of months, he's been a huge influence for me. I learned about Kerry James Marshall. I learned that he went to Otis College, which is a college that I want to go to, and I was taking classes there when I was in high school. And the thing that I love about him is that he realized there's not enough fine art that focuses on the black person, you know. So like him as an African American, he's like, you know what, we have to have representation within fine art, and that's something that I feel like Emilia does. Her work focuses on, like, you know, people of color, and it makes me so happy, you know. So that's something that I feel like her and Kerry James Marshall have in common, you know. Kerry James Marshall is also from South LA. He's from, I believe, Watts. I might be wrong, but something that influenced him was the riots, you know. So the whole the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement, like it's something that really motivated him to create this work. So that's something that also influences me. I I don't identify myself as Chicano, but the Chicano movement also influences me to a certain point, and I just love seeing the working class people of color and the struggle and like how they go about it, whether it be like movements, whether it be through art, whether it be through music. I feel it's like very potent, and it's very it really influences me.
Well, yeah, man, it's great to get your views on like art and just life itself. Where do you see yourself in art like 10 years from now, or like 20 years from now?
I see myself hopefully getting that knowledge that's like, it's sad, but it's like privatized. You have to go to these colleges, these universities to get this knowledge that costs money. I believe that this knowledge shouldn't be privatized, and it should be available for everybody. But since it's not, my goal is to get this knowledge and bring it back to working class communities. Maybe in 20 years, South Central will be gentrified and the demographics will be different, and like our people won't, like working class people won't be living in South Central anymore. But I'm for the working class people, even if they're not us. Like I'm for the working class people, and I want to give them the opportunity to like I want to give them the knowledge that unfortunately is privatized. So whatever the working class people are, I'm for the working class people, not just that are black and brown, but working class people of the world. And I want to give them, I want to give back to them, and I want to dedicate my life as an artist to give back to the people.
So pretty much your art will reflect the working class people.
I hope so. And my some of my favorite artists, that's what they do, that's what they did. Going back to Frida, going back to Diego Rivera, going back to Siqueiros, going back to Picasso. Picasso, like at a very young age, he was able to recreate anything. Like he was very talented at a very young age. But as he got older, he became more mature, and he became more involved in politics, and he started showing the sad reality that was happening in Spain at the moment. So I want to create that. I want to show, I want to take that risk, because it's a risk. A lot of creatives don't take the risk, and they make they either make music for that's that it's just nice, like painting the pretty picture. That's how I say it. I feel like it's a risk when you paint, when you make music about the reality that we live in, and it's a risk. But I feel like that's why we need creatives in this world. They take those risks, and they make the best out of it. They inspire other people to take those risks, because I feel art and music. I mean, music is art, but I feel art is like we were mentioning before, art is a tool, and it can fuel movements, that can change history.
Definitely, man. I mean, I was also trying to ask, like I said, 10 years from now, what about when you're like, at
all old?
Yeah, like, when we're at that stage, we can barely lift the, like, brush anymore. At some point, are you going to be, like, writing a book about your life, about art?
I hope so. I would consider writing a book not about me, but about the influence that other artists have created on me, and a book about just the people that I met through the course of my life that have influenced me, and a book that reflects the people, the working class people of the world, and the creative working class people of the world, because they need more credit, because working creative people are just as important as anybody else in history. Like when you think about history, they don't always show the creative side to history through movements, like Mexican Revolution again. There was a lot of artists involved in the Mexican Revolution. They were on both sides. They were also militant, but they were also making art that reflected the movement.
And good times, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And what would you call the book? What would be like a title for it? Like that reflects from like the times we're living right now.
I guess that's pretty it's pretty complex. I have like a lot of just ideas going on right now. One of them, I would probably just keep it short for the sake of so it could fit on the book. I was thinking like maybe just the people, you know, because that's literally I want to dedicate my life to the people.
The people. That'd be a great.
Or even in Spanish too, like la gente,
La gente.
el pueblo, you know, el pueblo. The word pueblo is very complex, you know. People think about, you know, when you're rancho back in Mexico, but no, I feel like, you know, the word pueblo is very strong, you know, because when I say the word pueblo, I'm talking about the people of the Americas with except of borders, like without borders, you know. There's just saying, you know, somos un pueblo sin fronteras, and I have the solidarity for the people of the Americas, you know. We're all one people, you know, regardless of these like man-made borders. We're all one people, and we should treat respect. We should have solidarity for our Honduran brothers that are coming in the caravan, because we have to stop being so like nationalistic, and we're like I believe that I'm an internationalist, you know. I'm for the people of the world, you know, so I'm for the people.
No, I know what you're talking about. I mean, I tell people all the time, they just kind of trip out when they're like, "Oh, you mean you don't have the same views as I do?" I'm like, no, I don't want to. And I'm like, I'm undocumented, and I'm DACA, so for me to say, like, fuck those people, like, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, and it's like, you know.
But that's my opinion, you know. You don't have to follow it.
We all have our opinions. Yeah. Like, the thing that I like about you is, like, I feel like there's that, you know, there's that saying, the undocumented and, like, unafraid, you know. But we have to live up to it, you know. We have to live up. We have to express our views as artists. We have to like really live up to like what we're saying, you know, as undocumented folk. And like, I feel like I'm doing a good job with that. But of course, there's a lot of people that don't think like I do, and it's okay. Like, you know, I respect people's views, but I just want them to understand. I want them to understand where I'm coming from, and as long as you do, like, as long as you respect my views the way I respect your views, we're good, you know.
And that's what it is about, just getting along as artists, as humans, as
Exactly.
people, you know. Because then it goes back to the same thing where we're divided and all we're doing is fighting each other.
Yeah, like we should stop fighting for crumbs, you know.
Yeah.
We should learn how to get unionize, work together, and fight our oppressor, you know. Whether it be through art, whether it be through different forms, you know. We have to fight. We have to get together as working class people, as people, you know, that work on a daily basis, and understand that the power of the people is stronger than the power of the people that are in the government. They hold this power, you know. I don't want to get really into that, but you know, the power of the people united is very strong, and we have to acknowledge that.
Oh man, thank you for taking a few minutes of your daily life and for being here with us. Do you have any shout outs? Anybody that you want to shout out? Of course, this isn't live right now, but we'll put it on YouTube later on.
Yep. I want to send a shout out to all my friends, my artist friends, Emilia Cruz. A shout out to Kerry James Marshall. If I ever get a chance to meet Kerry James Marshall, big influence to me. My high school teacher, Luis Genaro Garcia. My educators, my teachers, my LASD teachers that are fighting for a better wage, which they deserve. And shout out to all my street vendors that, you know, I'm thankful that you know, it's been passed, that they could vend without being criminalized. And I want to send a shout out to all the people hustling out there, you know, just to make ends meet.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks again for being here with us.
For sure.
I think this is episode 167.
Yeah.
It might be one off or one less, but you guys know me. I'm very forgetful. Catch us next time on the Eskwilax Hour. It's not live anymore for the moment, but you guys can find this one on YouTube, of course, under the Eskwilax Hour. Follow us on Instagram. Follow Manuel
Reyes Create on Instagram, or Manuel Reyes Arte on Facebook.
There you go, guys, and see you guys next time. Hopefully I got a haircut by next time you guys see me.
That's why I have a hat.
That's why he has a hat. And that's why Marco's behind the camera today. Because we all need haircuts.
Right.
If you know somebody local,
shout out to those barbers. Let me get a haircut.
See you guys next time. The Eskwilax Hour 167. What's up, everybody?
say actually.
What the fuck?